Schredler, and I'm here at the Irvine International Film Festival. I'm loving the theaters here. I'm loving the crowd. I'm loving just the way everything is put together, and I'm very proud to be here to present my film, The Visit, short film starring Academy Award nominee June Squibb and Sean Maher. And The Visit is about, well, it's a psychological drama, 12 and a half minutes, and it's about the fascinating mechanisms of the human mind to cope with grief and extreme circumstances. I hope that everybody has a good time watching it, and I'm very pleased and honored to be here, so thank you very much.
Hey, what's going on? I am Travis Ross. I played Brodio in the movie Lasso. I'm basically one of the really bad cowboys. Something's wrong with me. I don't know what it is, but you will find out when you see this movie. It's freaking phenomenal, and it was a lot of fun to shoot. Really looking forward to getting this out there.
Hi, my name is Heather Mignon, and I'm playing Roisin in Lasso. And Roisin is a character, she's a rodeo queen, so I wear a nice crown throughout. And the movie Lasso is about two characters named Kit, who they both travel to a rodeo where they get in a whole lot of mess and a lot of danger happens, so they try to get out, but you have to see the end to see what happens.
Hi, my name is Melissa Tracy, and tonight we're seeing Lasso. I'm really excited. Everybody did a wonderful job.
Come on, guys. My name is Joe Savallo Jr. I play Paul in the movie Lasso. It's a cool, crazy rodeo horror movie, and you guys are going to love it, so come check it out.
Hello, I'm Matthew Butler-Hart from Fizz and Ginger Films.
And I'm Tori Butler-Hart.
We are married, yeah. Tonight we have our feature screening of The Isle at the Irvine International Film Festival, which we're very excited about.
It's the first time it's being screened in front of an audience.
It is, it's the first time, so this is going to be a fun test, guys. Be kind. It is a Victorian supernatural thriller set on a remote Scottish island. There's a shipwreck. 3 sailors survive and get to this beautiful island with 4 people sort of still inhabited on it. But then as they wait for the rescue boat, they realise that things aren't entirely what they think are on the island, basically. Without giving too much away. It's a thriller, so we can't talk too much about it.
Hi, my name is Alex Haney, and I wrote and directed Charity, which is here at the festival. So Charity is an anti-bullying film. The goal was to sort of discuss a lot of themes that come up when you think about bullying in high school. You know, why the bully does it, how people can react in the right way, how people can react in the incorrect way. And it generally follows the story of a girl named Catherine who learns that somebody she thinks and she wants to think is her best friend ends up being, you know, a bully and ends up having always been a bully. And so she has to confront this, and it's sort of, she enters this world of uncertainty when she gets a death threat. And so basically, you know, the goal of this film was to really try and start a conversation about bullying, try and help people examine different areas of what bullying is, how it impacts your community in high school. And yeah, we're really happy to have it at the festival. It's been a long time vision of mine to make this a reality, and we're really excited to bring it to you guys. So,
my name is Doug Hawley. I'm the writer and director of Cursed World Problems, which was an official selection of the Irvine International Film Festival. They wanted me to say something, and I would just like to say thank you for having us.
Hi, Irvine Film Festival. My name is Chanel Renee, and my film is Tiff. I am so honored to be here. Tiff is about a young woman who is unfortunately going through some circumstances. She is a woman who is dealing with her mom's drug addiction, and the way that she copes with it is she cuts herself. So such an honor to be a part of this film. Thank you so much to the director, Steven, as well as Miss Kim from Miss Kim Productions. Super excited about this film and the lives that it'll change.
Hi, my name is Caroline Corey. I'm the writer, director, producer of the film E.T. Contact, They Are Here. E.T. Contact is about all sorts of contact experiences with other realities, other dimensions, other beings. As children, sometimes we have experiences with imaginary friends or deceased relatives or what have you. And for me, I wanted to make this film because as a child, I had those experiences, and I became very curious. Throughout my life, I looked for other individuals who had similar experiences, and eventually I realized that this is a much more widespread phenomenon than we thought it was, and I decided to make this film. I also wanted to bring scientific validation to this phenomenon, and that's the reason why I looked for scientists who were open to the idea of contact experiences. And we discussed different ways to design experiments to show or prove that these contact experiences were real, that something does happen when we come in contact with an energy or a spirit or an angel. And it was very, very fun to figure out how we could design these experiments. And I think the results turned out to be extraordinary. We were blown away. We didn't know what was going to happen. And in fact, we were all very surprised, even the scientists themselves. And so that's the reason why I think this film is quite different and brings that new edge of science to this phenomenon. I think you will enjoy it. I hope you will have a chance to see the film, E.T. Contact. I'm very excited the way it turned out, and looking forward to the next adventure. Thanks.
My name is Dr. Glenn Ryan. I'm one of the scientists that's interviewed in the film that you guys are about to see, have seen, or will see. See, that depends on whether it's a present, past, or future. But that's the whole point of the film, because in the higher dimensional realities where these alien beings live, there is no space-time. Well, there is no time, and there is no space-time. So I'm a scientist who's very fascinated with that statement and fascinated with the idea that there may be beings other than human beings on this planet. And I've been doing a lot of research measuring the effects of human beings on biological systems, particularly DNA, in test tubes to see to what extent we can manipulate matter with our mind and our consciousness, and how we can change the physical properties of DNA in a test tube. So having done this research before with healers, Caroline, the director, comes up to me and says, well, let's do these kind of experiments, not working with a healer, but working with a certain kind of being that comes through me at a certain point in time. In fact, I can call on any being you like, and let's do some experiments. Demonstrated that, say, Archangel Michael can actually manifest something in our 3D, 4D physical reality and change an enzyme or a molecule of DNA or a protein molecule. So we designed these experiments to actually do that, and sure enough, there was a very large, profound change in the physical properties and the electrical properties of the DNA. So this was measurable in a test tube and was reproduced, and is an intriguing phenomena because it's now suggesting that different entities can work through us and help us to influence our physical reality around us. We don't think we can, but in fact we can. And if we don't think we can, they think we can. So it manifests as our ability to change our physical world around us. And that's part of the experimental results and part of the implications of the whole film, that these beings are here on the planet, and there's at least now some scientists on the planet who are trying to measure this phenomena, understand this phenomena, and be able to help use this ability to promote the evolution of mankind right from the beginning. Thank you very much. It's been a great opportunity to meet everyone and share some of my thoughts. Have a good evening.
I am deeply proud to be with you all here tonight. And I'm deeply proud because of my wife, who stands beside me here and who comes from this neck of the woods, and we got here a little late due to traffic, but this beautiful woman who's been my wife and partner for 25 years, and I watched her young woman in Silas, whip of a lass, growing up and living in this community, and her environmental work has been truly outstanding and passionate and articulate, and she's walked the walk and talked the walk for so many years. And so this film is deeply personal on many levels, that level of which I speak, and also living in Kauai, where we've been for the last 16 years, in this beautiful paradise, and hearing certain stories, and Keeley being a passionate environmentalist, took up this story, and I have watched it grow over the last 2.5 years now, and I make my films, I see them once and that's it. I don't want to see it again, but I've seen this film so many times now over the years, and it's just, it's been glorious to watch the articulation of and command of storytelling with a heart about something which is deeply personal to both of us, and that is about the food we eat and the air we breathe and our children and our children's children, and I guess being an activist, being an environmentalist. Anyway, I give you my darling wife, Keeley, and her movie, Poisoning Paradise.
Thank you. Just a heartfelt thanks to everybody for coming out on this beautiful day to see the film. As my husband Pierce said, I am an Orange County girl. I was raised in Newport and Huntington Beach. I went to public school here, and we had an incredible environmental science program that nurtured and fostered my environmental activism throughout my entire life. I think it's really important that we have these kinds of classes for children. The result being that I became an environmental journalist for network television. I've worked for many years in the philanthropy sector, and I've gone back to work now that my children are grown. This is my first film. I'm very proud of it. It's deeply personal. It's about a place that I love and people that I love, and the story was, in my mind, something that urgently needed to be told. I'll be here after the film if you want to stick around and you have any questions for Q&A. And without further ado, I hope you enjoy the film. Thank you again for coming out.
Hi guys, thanks for coming. My name is James Kicklighter, and I'm the director of Angel of Anywhere. I was inspired to make Angel of Anywhere because I met the lead actor, Angel, played by Axel Roldos, right over there from Atlanta, at the Atlanta Film Festival last year with a documentary I directed. He came up to me after party and said he wanted to...
So many actors now. We're going to be taking you to coffee.
That's true.
In fact, I'd like to have coffee with you. I'm Carrie Bickley. I am the executive producer and writer of Hot Break.
Oh, wow.
And I don't relate to the picture at all. Nothing autobiographical about it whatsoever. But I had a film career, and after a divorce, I was recreating myself because my ex-husband and I wrote movies together. And, nothing television wants more than a middle-aged woman. So I had a fantasy. I had a fantasy that I would meet a young man. Apparently he's up there somewhere, so I'm going to find you afterwards.
At an after party.
At an after party.
Cool. My name is Alan Ritchson, made Treehouse Time Machine. And I think...
that was the first film we saw.
That was the first, yeah. For me, I feel like there's a hole in live-action family dramedies today that harken back to the 90s, 80s and 90s, the stuff I grew up with, Goonies and Sandlot, and all the films that I think a lot of us reference. And we aren't making those films anymore, and I wanted to make one. And Treehouse Time Machine, I think, because I'm sort of an amateur historian, and for me, it's actually a vehicle to explore history through the lens of these kids, important people and places that I think we can still learn from. So, more of a proof of concept, in my opinion. But.
I'm Alexander Bedria. I'm the writer-director of The Zim. And
You're the star.
Oh yeah, I was in it. I had a friend who was living in Zimbabwe a few years ago and shared stories of the politics, the socio-politics, the racial politics, the people. And he directed me to a documentary called Mugabe and the White African, which was absolutely compelling. It was about a family and farm workers who were being constantly raided by government sympathetic forces. And I thought this would be a real fascinating story to attempt to dramatize because it hadn't been told. And it subverted a lot of the racial politics that we see in other parts of the world, so it challenged a lot of ideas. And it also subverted the trope of the American Western too. And to me, all of those things just sort of kept building in my mind. Initially I wrote it just to act in it and produce it, but then I kept seeing it. So that's where after a long 4-year process, that's where it came about.
I saw the parallel between your film and the American West. It actually clicked like immediately.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sure. I'm just going to open it to questions now. Anyone? Do you have any questions for the filmmakers?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
Well, what was your budget on that film?
A lot less than we needed. Initially, I had done a Indiegogo for around $40,000 because that would be a minimum, and we raised less than half that. So principal photography was around $14,000, and then did a Kickstarter afterward, raised about $6,000 for post, and then so roughly production and post was about $20,000, and then we had a little bit of money came in the back end for promotional purposes and publicity and things like that, which was easier to get once people had seen the film. It's much harder when you just have a trailer or so on and so forth. But yeah, around 20.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Where was it shot?
Thousand Oaks, California.
I knew it. I know it looked familiar.
We tried not to make it look familiar. But yeah, a little bit of CG, a little bit of
I know.
I know.
But it actually looked very, very authentic, though.
People in Zimbabwe think we shot it there. Geographically, topographically, it's incredibly similar to that part.
I know. Just amazing. Yes.
Could we go down the line with that funding question and just where you're looking for funding? The budget?
Oh, the fundraising?
Yeah, raising the funds, getting investors on board, but
Oh, okay. Well, I pretty much answered it. Indiegogo for principal photography, fixed funding, flexible funding where you get, no matter what you raise, you get it. Unlike Kickstarter, where you have to raise the entire thing. And then Kickstarter was easier to get people to contribute because there's certain people that hesitate to contribute to Indiegogo because they think that if you don't get all the money that you need,
You'll
then
take
not
their money.
Yeah, you're not going to make the thing. And then afterwards, winning awards at festivals was really helpful to get people on board who wanted to help with publicity for exchanging, working on future projects and things. So it's just it's step by step, and for us again, it took 4 years to make the project from concept to completion.
Amazing.
So.
Same question to Alan, right? Yes.
I'm embarrassed to say how much I spent on mine. I will say that it wasn't the intended budget, but it took $90,000 to finish that movie, and maybe 50 of that was VFX. Ran into some issues making the project where I think the right way to shoot that would be to create a soundstage, a set on a soundstage with fly walls, so I could back up and shoot the VFX. I mean, I had a Phantom Flex 4K in there, and I couldn't get that far enough back to, show feet off the ground and heads. So it was frustrating in that sense, but I ended up building that set in my house, which it's still there, and my kids enjoy sleepovers in the treehouse. So you do what you have to do, but it was a month build for the treehouse set, and really talented production designer Burns made that with me in the house. But we ended up having to green screen everything, and every time we look out the windows of the treehouse, it was green screen, so all the rain. Every time, it was over 150 VFX shots, so it was months of VFX and a lot of money spent to finish the film, but it was $90,000.
But I got to tell you, your actors were amazing. those kid actors are just amazing. They look so
and
good.
And it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
So you should
Thank you.
apologize.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was worth it. All the
every
money
penny.
that, yes.
Thank you.
It was totally worth it.
Thank you. Yeah, labor of love. I pitched the idea to UTA, my agency. I've been an actor for 10 years, 12 now, but I pitched this to them before Stranger Things was a thing, and they shut it down so fast. They told me nobody works with kids, and nobody wants to see a family show with kids, and to shelve it and to go for one of my other, more serious ideas. And Stranger Things came out, and I didn't remind them that I pitched the idea to them and sent them the script for the short, and I had about 60 agents on the phone with me in 5 minutes telling me it was the best thing they've ever read. What can we do to help you? Roland Emmerich's DP wants to do it for you. Who can we get to help you make this?
Wow.
So
as a feature?
No, as a proof of concept for a show.
Right.
I have a series and a pilot and a series Bible as well. So I didn't take their help. Decided just to do it on my own. I feel like after that they didn't quite share my vision. So so made it on my own with my own funds. But yeah, so sharing it now. This is one of the first festivals for it to play at. So I appreciate the feedback.
Our story is a little bit similar. I went and I pitched the concept of Hot Break, and they weren't doing anything in show business that day. Whatever you're doing, they're not doing at that exact moment. So it was the same sort of thing. And I had ended up meeting Lisa Domain, who directed, Melanie Backer, who's here, and we were all at different stages in our career where we were trying to reinvent. Lisa is like the #1 first AD in LA, but it's very difficult to get from below the line to above the line, no matter how hard, you know what I mean? Melanie had been in development, been producing, and been in distribution. She was trying to shift to more hands-on producing, and I was going from screenwriting to television. We were all shifting. So we all put up, I guess we each put in $4 or $5 grand. And that gave us our start budget, and we got a lot of things, and then somebody came in on the back end with 10 to help us edit and that kind of thing. But
so what was the total?
I guess all total we were about 22.
That's not bad at all.
But we have other
Yeah, well, we were very lucky. A lot of people donated time, and then people like Brian Van Holten, some people came on for the script. Annie DeSalvo was a big get for us.
But it looks like as if it was made for at least 50. No, it really looks good.
Yeah. Well, everybody on the film was working somehow in Hollywood, except that weekend. We shot it in 3 days.
Wow.
We had to, because Lisa was the first ADing Lucifer or something, or Waterworld, or something huge, and we had to shove it in. We had exactly 3 days to make it. So it was tight, but it was really a labor of love for all of us. And then it was very interesting, actually, because what then happened is the whole Harvey Weinstein thing happened after we shot it and sent it to festivals. And we've actually edited a few things you can't really tell, but this issue of I'm going to go get that intern there suddenly wasn't funny one day. It was we all had to kind of go, oh, that's kind of oops. And but actually, it's always my contention that I'm ahead of my time, and that was that we were poking at exactly that thing. Just when it started happening, it was kind of a seismic shift. So I actually have also written episode 2, 3, and 4, and the greatest fun of my life has been rewriting them now that everybody's in human resources having seminars on their behavior, and that you can no longer hire men. I still think it's timely, damn it.
But we got the humor though.
That humor, it's funny.
The humor, yeah.
Well, you also kind of asked a broader question about funding, and so I'm going to talk about that for a second. Every film is packaged in a different way. I have never worked on one project that has ever been funded the same way twice. It can be a mixture of private funds, it can be Kickstarter, it can be investors, it can be just money out of your pocket. But in the case of Angel of Anywhere, when Axel came to me and said that he wanted to make a film, he also said he was going to pay for it. And so he cut me a check, and we made the movie. I knew that he was serious when he was going to send me a check that cashed. Because for me, I told him, if we're going to do this, there are two things I'm going to give you. I'm going to bring on real professionals from the experiences I've had over my career. We brought in Jessica Sherman, actually, who casted this in. And we've got Brianna Evigan from the Step Up movies and Sudarius Blaine that was just in Jumanji, for those of you that saw that. And we populated a cast around Axel, who had wanted to act. And I think, if I do say so myself, he did a damn good job. The first performance he's ever given on screen. So that's how we funded Angel of Anywhere, because Axel saved money and we did it.
Awesome. Yes?
Every production is different. Every time you feel like you've got the experience, next production you do, there's always something new that happens, that experience. What did you learn from your productions that you'd like to share with us?
We'll go and pass back. It's interesting because most of the time in the writing process, a script comes to you to direct. And so in the case of Angel, this was a script that we had an actor that wanted to tell a story, but we didn't know what story was going to be told. There was no clear-cut answer for that. And Axel works in that business in Atlanta. And I asked my writers, one of which who's right there on the camera, Casey Nelson, and the other writer, Kate Murdoch, how can we tell a story that's going to be really organic to Axel's life experiences? And he started telling us about stories in the club where people just would spill their hearts out about their personal lives. And I was so enamored with that, because when you see Magic Mike, when you see all these different movies about the world of stripping, you see this other side to it that was very different than the world he was recollecting to us. And we said, this film is really about the strip club as a therapy environment. And so when you're talking about the script and how we come across doing that, we were really customizing a vehicle around those life experiences to really empower our actor's first acting experience to be something that he could really call upon. Because I personally adhere to Meisner technique and how you really pull these things from your life. And I think that if you want to find a really good performance, you want to find actors, talent, and stories that are really relevant to their personal experiences. So that's how we developed the script for this.
I'm going to be very...
I mean, it worked. but I mean, it was a challenge, because I was like, hey, so like I want to make like a thing, and they were like, so I had to pursue James, and then
it's like dating, really.
Yeah, and we met for coffee, and I was like, no, really, like I want to make a thing, and then he was like, oh, well, you could like shoot on your iPhone. I'm like, no, like no. And so yeah, I dance. Actually, I do dance at a bar in Atlanta, and so that's how I raised funds. Because by the way,
you were a professional.
Oh yeah. But by the way, let me just say, after watching that up there, I was like, I'm like way more shredded now than like what I look up there. So like I have like a legit six-pack now. So just like FYI. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's how like that got paid for. So just FYI, But yeah, so it's loosely based off me. There are some similarities. There's some like there are lots of similarities. But yeah, so that's where that came from.
Awesome.
I truly loved your part. I mean, you did an outstanding job. I really liked you a lot in the film.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Hi, I'm Sean Baker. First of all, I want to say thank you all for coming out and also thank you to the Irvine International Film Festival for having them as well as all these phenomenal films. And thank you all for coming out and supporting the filmmakers. I had known Alex or Alexander for some time, and we had worked together in different various projects and stuff over the years. And about 4 years ago, he shared the documentary with me and the fact that he was interested in doing this piece. And I was blown away. I didn't know anything about the land seizures and the things that were going on. So I started to educate myself on it, and I'm really impressed and really proud of him for his tenacity. He was able to see it from beginning all the way through, and it's really his baby. I mean, we're all sharing that, but I just want to say I'm really proud of you, brother. In terms of the piece itself and working on the piece, did a lot of research on YouTube. YouTube is very, very helpful. Tim Guy, who plays William, was also helpful in terms of dialect. And
He's actually Zimbabwean.
He's from Zimbabwe, so he was very, very helpful. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed working on it. It was really a labor of love. I really, really believe in the piece. And really, it's about educating people on some things that we don't know anything about. So hopefully you all enjoyed it, and you'll tell people about it. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I bribed the director. This was my husband. So I was there from the beginning of the first little seed that was planted about the idea. So we kind of have
She's
been...
also an associate producer.
Yeah,
she actually is. So.
He knows I won't talk about it.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so it's just been really, really interesting to be there from the beginning, from the seed that was planted for the concept of everything, there through every draft, like seeing how it was shaped and developed, and it's just been awesome to be there that whole step of the way, and to be able to come onto it as an actor and get to do what I love so much was just amazing. I had kind of stepped away from the business for a little while. It's hard, and this kind of was a nice gift to come back and do something that was important and a great script and a good part. So I mean, we're all super grateful and indebted to that. So
Any
thank you.
questions for the cast? Yes.
For the director.
Okay.
In each of your films, what scene was your favorite? Was it what was the heart of each of your films?
Very easy for mine. Tungai and Constantly actors Tungai and Constance in bed together with the camera slowly pushing in. One scene I wasn't in. To me that's the heart of the story easily, and I think if I see you nodding, so you totally get it. Yeah, that's the heart of the story is them.
That's the one that I cried on.
Okay. The music helped with that. Our composer Mike Mallow is here too. I have to give him a shout out. Mike, where you at? Oh, there he is.
I have to tell you, I've never wanted to see a character die so bad as I wanted you to.
Oh my God. He's a very sweet man.
Thank you. That's a good thing.
Character,
it's a good thing.
And it was unbelievably moving watching your entire gang turn their backs on you and just go, "This is not our fight." That was so powerful, and it just really is a nod to you, sir. Brilliant.
It's funny. I had the opposite. I felt the exact opposite. I felt that he was in the right. What he was very dignified, and the stuff that he was saying made a lot of sense, and he was right. But the thing is, the other guy was also right because it's his land, you know. And it's just like a Native American walks up to you and says, "It's my land," and he's right.
That's what. This is exactly.
Yeah.
The point.
It's that argument.
I wish I could have filmed this because that's exactly what the whole argument is.
We got it filmed right here.
Oh, there we go.
But what I was impressed with is just the fact that, you know, the lines that you wrote for him, it made him dignified.
Yes.
You know, and he wasn't there to take something that did not belong to him by force. He came with a court order, you know.
A lot of people in Zimbabwe consider him to be the hero. A lot of people do. And
that's the flip side.
That's the flip side, and he's not a one-dimensional villain. No,
absolutely.
So this is. Thank you for that, because that was the first time I've ever heard two people that I didn't know having that discussion. Americans, no less. So that's the point.
Yeah. Cool. Alan?
For me, I think it was the sequence where the kids were floating. That was the image that I usually dream scenes in my mind and then write them, and it happened a few different times. There's a movie I produced for Lionsgate, and I had a dream about, it's about this guy who parties, and like kind of like an Animal House kind of thing, and I had a dream that his like minions were, basically that it was snowing, and that you sort of like pull back on, you know, a big crane shot, and his like frat brothers are opening little tiny packets of cocaine and sprinkling them off the roof, making it snow, and it was like his dream come true, and that actually made it in the movie. So we shot it a little differently, but I have like these ridiculous ideas, and so it's like, okay, I'll write it down. And that was, for this short, that was the first one that I had dreamed, was the kids floating in the time machine, like crackling with, you know, colors, and to see that sort of come to life and be working with like the Flex 4K and some great stunt riggers, Garrett Walker and his team, hoisting these kids, it was challenging and tough on the schedule that we had with, you know, teachers barking down our throats telling us we didn't have any time left, and but that's the one that sticks out for me.
I would say when I was writing it, the scene that kind of was the bar scene. That's where sort of the whole idea, like, you know, we meet and he's young and gorgeous and he'll be the frontman and I'll be Sarah. I mean, that was it. But in the scene of it, I find that it's the what I call the being there scene, when they're all making Hunter who they think Hunter is, and hearing what they think he's saying. And I think for me, in watching it, that's the one that
was my favorite scene too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Casey and Kate turned in the first draft of the script for Angel of Anywhere, I had no idea where it was going. I was reading and I was reading. I'm like, I like this. It may not shock you all that I'm a fan of dialogue after watching the film. And I'm like, I love this character work, but where do we go with it? So we get to the twist of the film. And I go, all right, so here we have a scene that's about human empathy. We have a scene that's about anger. And you're leading into this whole twist where these two things kind of intersect, and it's about empathy more than anything. It's about trying to figure out these people that are stuck in these lives and seeing it through the lens of the guy that has been their therapist. And he can't fix it. The thing that he thinks he is, he's not. And so for me, my favorite scene of the film is that last one, because it's very tricky from my perspective, from a directorial perspective, how to do that without overblowing it. So I'm really proud of that scene.
Yes. I'm very curious. It's innocent. Okay, so Angel had a really cool car. Does anyone remember what it was?
It was a cool car. What was the car? I'll give you a hint. It was a red car.
It was a red car.
I heard
yes.
it was a Camaro.
Yeah, it was a Camaro.
Right.
Camaro, you win a t-shirt.
You get a t-shirt.
All right.
I'm so impressed you got that. Sorry, I noticed that.
What was the name of the script that Lexi couldn't get anybody to read?
The name of the script? That.
It's too hard. It's too hard.
All right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hot water.
Yes, it was. I was shocked. I thought that was.
Yes. Alan, yes.
That was really good.
I mean, yeah, I could ask a hard one. What was the number that flashed on the front of the time machine before they traveled?
Oh.
Yes.
That is 71?
Ooh, yes.
Oh.
What year did the story take place?
2001.
Who said that?
This doesn't count because you got to raise your hand.
All right, I'll ask another one.
Ask another one.
I really thought about that one hard. Okay. What was the name of William's wife?
William's wife. Hard one.
You're going to have to give it to 2001.
Another one?
What was the make of the truck that Daniel and William were in?
You suck.
What was the make of the car that William was in?
The truck that they were in.
The truck.
Put your hand up.
I can't
Put
see.
your
Oh,
hand
I
up.
can't see.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ford. She said Ford first. Sorry.
Okay.
You said her first. Yeah. Sorry about that. Because I heard Ford first. Two more.
No.
He was acting.
Two more. Who wants to go?
Trivia question?
Here.
You ask one.
I will ask one. Can you name all the movies that were shown tonight? No, come on. No, like, name at least 5. We saw about 8. Can you name at least 5? Raise your hand. Yes.
Okay, so Treehouse Time Machine, Karma,
Uh-huh.
The Zim.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
Angel of Anywhere.
Yes.
4. One more.
She's sitting right there. I am so embarrassed, and my brain just completely went out to lunch.
What was the last film? The funny one.
The
With the
caterpillar
doctor.
one.
Yes. With the caterpillar. Yes.
Yeah.
Doctor something. Doctor.
Hold on.
Come on, you got
How?
to answer. What species was it?
I know it was a
The
praying
praying
mantis.
one. The praying there's a praying mantis. There you go. Win it. Okay, wait. Last one. Last one. I will have you ask.
And think of it also. Okay,
The name of the character, the handsome guy.
oh, what was the name of the handsome man that was her hot break?
Yes,
That was the word.
there. What was his name? Hunter.
Hunter. Yahoo!
All right, guys, a big round of applause. Thank you. Our next one will start at 7:30 sharp.